Happy Thursday, everyone, and let's talk about how to go into 2020 with the strength of 2019. So I've been thinking a lot about this, and so I thought I would share my thoughts with you in case they're useful. So oftentimes we just kind of barrel ahead. You know, we get to the end of the year, we have the parties, we celebrate the new year, and we just barrel forward, and we leave a lot of the power and strength that we gained in the previous year in that year. And what we want to do is carry it forward with us. So it requires that we become aware of what it is that we actually gained from the prior year. And this is where I want to talk about accounting. So please don't stop the video. Don't scroll on. If you're not a fan of accounting, I understand. But this kind of accounting should be fun. And what we're going to do, or what I suggest that you do, is that you just get out a sheet of paper and write a list. We love our lists of all the things in one column, all the things that you accomplished this past year. This might also be like the high points of the year. Anything that comes to mind that feels like an accomplishment, a victory, write that down. And then in the next column, you're just going to write what you learned from that, what you gained from that accomplishment, achievement, that victory, that high point. So what you achieved and what you learned from what you achieved. Okay, so it doesn't stop there, right? So then we're going to do the low points. We're going to do the places maybe that, let's say you have your goals for the year, you didn't even touch it. So you didn't even attempt something that you really wanted to accomplish, you didn't accomplish. Or a big mistake that you made, or a failure, or a disappointment. Any of those things, write those down in a list. And again, you're just writing stream of consciousness, just create your list. And then in the column next to that, identify what you learned from that, or what you gained from that, or what quality came out of you as a result of that. And there may be a learning in that. So we're treating both the highs and the lows equally from a learning point of view. Because what we're trying to do here is what I call leverage learning. You're going to leverage your learning. So often, like if I asked you 2017, what did you learn, excuse me, and take away from 2017? What were your big accomplishments in 2017? It's hard to remember, right? Because we're just moving forward. We're just plowing forward. So this is an effort to not have to relearn all the same lessons. Have you ever had that? Where you're like, oh my gosh, it's happening again. Not have to relearn the same lessons, and also leverage what it is that you've gained. Really leverage it intentionally. It's like if you don't look back at it, did you even really learn it? If you don't gather it and account for it, did you really learn it? Can you really take it forward into the future? Can you leverage it? Can you use it to make the next year, to start even ahead of the game in the next year? So that's what I suggest that you do, is to look at the high points, the low points, the achievements, the mistakes, and indicate what you learned from each of those items on your list, and just brainstorm the initial list. Now, when you look at what you learned, I'm going to challenge you to, how shall I say, is to put it as a productive learning, right? So you may start out with, I learned that I really am terrible at math. So that may be a good awareness, excuse me. That may be a good awareness, but there's a way to frame that that's actually more productive from a learning and leverage point of view. So I learned that I need to study a little bit more about X, Y, or Z, or that I need help when I do X, Y, or Z. So when you look at the learning column, look at how to make it productive learning that you feel positive, that generates positive action going forward. So we have our what happened on the first column, both the highs, the lows, the achievements. And when you're thinking about it, think of all aspects of your life. And then look at, from each of those items, what did I learn? Now, a word of caution. I suggest at this time of year that you don't wait for the perfect moment to do this, because there will not be that perfect moment, most likely. So you don't need to light a candle and incense and meditate for an hour and set the music right and have no distractions. You can actually do this in 5-minute blocks. Even if you're waiting in a doctor's waiting room, just on your phone, you can start creating your list. In fact, I challenge you to even use a timer to sort of beat the clock so that you don't make this too precious of an activity, or it won't get done. So just find a little 5-minute block here and there, do it a couple times, and you're going to start to take greater ownership over the things that really happened this year, that you created, the things that you learned, and you'll be able to take those forward into the coming year. So a little bit of accounting. It's a great thing to do at the end of a year as you are getting ready to enter a new year, so that you really take the full power of where you've been in this past year. And I'd also want to ask you, if you have questions like productivity challenges or questions that you would like me to respond to or answer or address, let me know. Either message me or put them in the comments, because I'd really like to be able to provide some support to you in this format. So I want to know what is troubling you on the productivity front, or what areas you could use some help in, because I'd love to be able to address those directly. So that's it for today. We're going to take a counting of where we've been in 2019, really celebrate it, and don't leave out the things that were disappointing or that you didn't achieve, or mistakes that you made. This is how we start to neutralize those things so they don't feel bad, we don't avoid them, that we actually see the value in them. And I think almost every speaker or leader you've probably heard say that it's actually those things that teach us the most. So we don't want to avoid them, because that means we're leaving, great learning on the table, great power, great strength on the table if you don't acknowledge those and take those forward. So I hope you have a great rest of your day. Leave any productivity questions you have for me in the comments, or message me, and we'll see you next Tuesday.